My name is Whitney, and I'm 32 years old. For 6 years straight, my parents forgot my birthday. No calls, no texts, not even a card. Meanwhile, they showered my older brother with everything: lavish parties, expensive gifts, you name it. But this year, they took it to a whole new level. Right after my 31st birthday passed without a single word from them, my brother posted a photo on Instagram grinning ear to ear in front of a brand new Tesla worth $110,000. The caption, "For someone deserving." And guess what? He tagged me. That tag hit like a slap in the face, a deliberate jab to make me feel small. I stared at my phone, my heart pounding, realizing they'd never see me the way they saw him. That was the moment I decided I was done with their neglect, done with being invisible. I had a plan, a surprise they'd never see coming, and it would turn their world upside down. Stick around, because this true story gets wild, and I'm spilling every detail of how I took back my power. If you're as shocked as I was, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this story. Let me know in the comments what you'd do in my shoes. Now let's dive in. Let me take you back to where it all started. Growing up in Dayton, Ohio, I always felt like an afterthought in my own family. My brother Cody was the center of their world. Mom and Dad poured everything into him: fancy gifts, big celebrations, all their attention. When he was 10, they surprised him with a sleek new bike, the kind every kid on the block envied. At 16, they handed him the keys to a used car paid in full, no questions asked. Meanwhile, my special days barely registered. I'd get a rushed text or a card that showed up late, if at all. It hurt. But I was young, so I told myself they were just busy: dad with his chain of grocery stores, mom with her event planning business. As we got older, the gap only widened. They paid for Cody's tuition at a private university, no strings attached. I worked 2 jobs to cover my state school costs, juggling loans and late-night shifts. They'd drive hours to cheer at his football games, but when I won a regional debate competition, they had a work thing and didn't show. I'd see photos of them at his college tailgates laughing with his friends while I studied alone in my dorm. It wasn't just about money. It was the pride they showed him, the way they lit up when he walked into a room. I wanted that, even just a fraction of it. For several years, they stopped acknowledging my birthday altogether. No calls, no messages, nothing. Cody, though, got the royal treatment. One year, they threw him a lavish party at a downtown venue, complete with a DJ and catered food. Another time, they gifted him a week-long cruise, posting photos of themselves toasting him at a send-off bash. I wasn't invited. I saw it all online, the comments praising mom and dad for being so generous. Once I got a belated email from mom with a $20 gift card, like it was an afterthought. I kept quiet, convincing myself they didn't mean it, that they were just caught up in their busy lives. The pattern never broke. Cody's milestones were family events. His first job at dad's company came with a big dinner I only heard about later. My achievements, like landing a solid job in finance, went unnoticed. I started feeling like I didn't belong, like I was a stranger in their story. Still, I made excuses for them. They're stressed, I thought. They'll notice me eventually. But the hurt piled up heavier each time, until it was impossible to ignore. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I called Dad, keeping my voice steady, and asked why they always overlooked me. He laughed it off, saying, "You're doing fine, Whitney. You don't need all that attention." I tried Mom next, hoping she'd hear me out. "You're too sensitive," she said, cutting me off. "We're just focused on Cody right now. He's got big things happening." Their words landed like a blow. It wasn't just oversight, they genuinely believed Cody deserved more. I hung up my chest tight, realizing they'd never see me the way they saw him. For years, I'd clung to the hope that they'd change, that they'd finally notice me. That call shattered it. Their favoritism wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, one they'd made over and over. By my 29th birthday, I hoped things would change. My 31st birthday was supposed to be a milestone, a day to celebrate everything I'd built on my own in Tulsa. I woke up hopeful, checking my phone for a message, a call, anything from my family. Nothing came. No text from mom, no voicemail from dad, not even an email. The silence hit harder than ever, a stark reminder of how little I mattered to them. I tried to shake it off, telling myself I was used to it by now. But deep down, I was still holding out for a sign they cared. Then 2 days later, I opened Instagram. There, it was a post from my brother Cody grinning in front of a gleaming Tesla worth $110,000. The caption read, "For someone deserving," and he tagged me. My stomach dropped. It wasn't just the car, a gift from mom and dad, that screamed their favoritism. It was the tag, a deliberate jab, like he wanted to rub it in my face. I stared at the screen, my hands shaking as comments poured in praising his new ride. Friends of his chimed in, joking about how lucky he was to have parents like ours. Each notification felt like a needle piercing deeper into years of being ignored. I clicked through the post, seeing mom's comment, a string of heart emojis, and, "So proud of you." Dad added, "You've earned this, son." Not a single mention of me, not even a pretense of fairness. The hurt turned to anger, a fire I hadn't felt before. This wasn't just another oversight. It was a public statement that I wasn't worth their time, their love, or their money. Cody's tag wasn't a mistake. It was meant to sting, to make me feel small. I closed the app, my heart racing, and sat in silence, replaying every moment I'd let their neglect slide. That was it, the breaking point. I couldn't keep pretending it didn't matter. I opened my phone settings and blocked their numbers. Mom, Dad, Cody. No more calls. No more texts. I went to my email, filtered their addresses straight to spam. On Instagram, I blocked their accounts, including Cody's smug post. Each tap felt like a weight, lifting a step toward reclaiming my peace. I didn't owe them an explanation, not after years of being pushed aside. They didn't deserve my words or my tears. But I wasn't done. Sitting there staring at my now quiet phone, an idea sparked. I'd been invisible to them for too long, but I could make them see me on my terms. I started drafting a plan, something they'd never expect, a way to expose their favoritism to the world. It wasn't about revenge. It was about taking back my voice. I opened my laptop, created a new document, and began outlining what would become my Reddit post. I didn't know how big it would get, but I knew it would hit them where it hurt their perfect family image. I kept my plan secret, not telling a soul. I went about my days in Tulsa, working, meeting friends, acting like everything was fine. But inside, I was resolute. I'd spent years hoping they'd change, begging for scraps of their attention. No more. Blocking them was just the start. I was done being the overlooked daughter. This time, I'd protect myself no matter what it took. My surprise was coming, and it would shake their world. After I blocked my family, the silence felt liberating, like I'd finally drawn a line they couldn't cross. But they didn't take it lightly. Within days, my office phone started ringing with unfamiliar numbers. My assistant, puzzled, passed me a message. "Your dad called, said it's urgent." I didn't call back. Then Mom tried leaving a voicemail through the office line, her voice sharp and demanding. "Whitney, we need to talk. Call us." I deleted it, my resolve hardening. They weren't used to me shutting them out, and it clearly rattled them. Soon they reached out to my friends. Monica, my closest friend since high school, texted me one morning. "Your mom messaged me," she wrote, forwarding a screenshot. It was a long plea, asking if I was okay, claiming they were worried sick. I told Monica to ignore it. A week later, Holly, a college friend I hadn't seen in years, called out of the blue. "Your brother reached out," she said, her tone hesitant. "He's saying you're not answering anyone. They're freaking out." I thanked her, but asked her to stay out of it. Their attempts to pull my friends into this felt desperate, a way to guilt me into responding. Then came the Instagram messages. I noticed a new follower, a generic account with no profile picture. The DM was from Mom: "Whitney, this is ridiculous. Unblock us and call home." She'd created a fake account to get around my block. I stared at the message, my jaw tight. It wasn't concern, it was control. She couldn't stand that I'd cut her off, so she resorted to sneaking into my inbox. I blocked the account without replying, my anger simmering. They weren't sorry. They just wanted me back in line. Their efforts didn't stop there. My landlord Marvin called me one afternoon sounding uneasy. "Your parents reached out," he said. "They asked if you're still living here, wanted to know if you're okay." I reassured him I was fine, but felt a chill. They'd tracked down my landlord, crossing a line into my private life. A few days later, Kyle, the security guard at my apartment complex, mentioned a similar call. "Your dad sounded frantic," he told me, scratching his head. "Said they haven't heard from you in weeks." I thanked Kyle but kept my distance, unsettled by how far they'd go to dig into my life. The final straw came when I saw what Cody was doing online. I'd unblocked one of his social media accounts briefly to check if he'd escalate. Sure enough, he'd posted a vague status on Twitter. "Really worried about my sister. Haven't heard from her in a while. Hope she's okay." The replies were full of sympathy, people tagging me, asking if I was missing or in trouble. Some even speculated I was struggling with personal issues. My phone buzzed with notifications from strangers, their messages ranging from concern to outright nosiness. Cody wasn't worried. He was spinning a narrative painting himself as the caring brother while making me look unstable. It was a calculated move meant to pressure me into breaking my silence. Monica kept me updated, forwarding more messages from Mom and Dad through her phone. They claimed I was acting out and needed to come home to sort this out. Holly got another call from Cody this time, asking if I'd mentioned anything about moving. Marvin got a second email, Mom asking if I'd been acting strange. Each attempt felt like a net tightening around me, their panic morphing into something manipulative. They weren't reaching out to apologize, they wanted control back, and they were willing to invade my life to get it. I stayed quiet, refusing to engage. Every call, message, and rumor only strengthened my resolve. They thought they could pull me back with guilt or public pressure, but I was done playing their game. I kept working on my plan in secret, adding details to the Reddit post that would lay bare their favoritism. I didn't know how they'd react when it went live, but I was ready for the fallout. Their desperation was proof I'd hit a nerve, and I wasn't about to let them off the hook. My family's attempts to reach me didn't stop at phone calls and messages. They were digging deeper, crossing lines I never thought they'd cross. My coworker Grant pulled me aside one morning at the office in Tulsa, his face uneasy. "Your dad called our bank contact," he said, lowering his voice. "He was asking about your accounts, trying to check your activity." I froze, my mind racing. Dad had used his business connections to pry into my finances, hoping to track me down. Thankfully, the bank refused to share anything, citing privacy laws, but the fact that he'd tried left me shaken. It wasn't about concern, it was about control, a way to force me back into their orbit. A few weeks later, things took a darker turn. I got a text from Ross, another coworker who followed my brother online. "You need to see this," he wrote, attaching a link to a TikTok video. I opened it, and there was Cody standing in front of a candlelit table, his face somber. "It's been months since we've heard from my sister," he said, his voice heavy with fake emotion. "We're holding a celebration for her birthday, hoping she knows we miss her." The video showed a banner with my name and an invitation for friends to join a tribute event in Dayton. My stomach churned. I wasn't missing, and he knew it. This wasn't a tribute, it was a performance, a way to paint me as the troubled one while he played the devoted brother. Comments flooded in, people offering prayers and asking if I was okay. I closed the app, my hands trembling with anger. The manipulation didn't stop there. My Aunt Evelyn, Mom's sister, started spreading rumors among our extended family. Monica, who was still getting messages from my parents, forwarded me a text from a cousin. "Evelyn says you're going through some mental health issues. Is that true?" I stared at the words, my chest tight. Evelyn had always been close to Mom, but this was a new low. She was telling relatives I was unstable, implying I needed help, all to justify my family's narrative. I told Monica to set the record straight, but the damage was spreading. Family group chats I'd long left buzzed with speculation, painting me as someone who'd lost her way. Grant and Ross kept me in the loop, piecing together what my family was doing. Grant overheard a call from Dad to another colleague asking if I'd been acting off at work. Ross showed me more comments under Cody's TikTok where people debated whether I was hiding or in distress. It hit me like a ton of bricks. They weren't just trying to reach me, they were orchestrating a campaign to make me look like the problem. By twisting the story, they could deflect blame, keep their image intact, and pressure me to break my silence. It was calculated a way to corner me through public opinion. I stayed calm on the outside, going through my routine in Tulsa, but inside, I was furious. Every move they made, Dad's bank inquiries, Cody's fake tears, Evelyn's rumors showed how far they'd go to pull me back under their control. I confided in Monica, who urged me to stay strong. "They're desperate because you're not giving in," she said. She was right. Their escalation only fueled my determination to stick to my plan. I opened my laptop at night, refining the Reddit posts that would expose their actions. I wasn't ready to post it yet, but each new stunt from my family added another line to the draft, another truth they couldn't hide from. Their tactics were invasive, but they weren't working. I wasn't the fragile lost sister they wanted people to see. I was in control, living my life and building my case. They thought they could shame me into returning, but they were wrong. Every rumor, every video, every call only made my resolve stronger. I was done being their afterthought, and soon they'd face the consequences of their own game. The weight of my family's actions was crushing me, and I knew I needed help to sort through it. I booked an appointment with Dr. Linda Hayes, a therapist in Tulsa, recommended by a friend. Walking into her office, I felt a mix of nerves and relief. The space was quiet, a stark contrast to the chaos my family had stirred up. Dr. Hayes greeted me with a calm smile, her voice steady as she asked why I was there. I took a deep breath and let it all spill out: the years of being overlooked, the pain that had built up, and the recent stunts that pushed me to cut contact. I told her about my brother Cody and how my parents always put him first. They'd paid for his college, no questions asked, while I scraped by with loans and part-time jobs. When he landed a cushy role at Dad's company, they celebrated like he'd won a Nobel Prize. My own milestones, like my promotion to senior analyst, barely got a nod. Dr. Hayes listened, jotting notes, her expression neutral but attentive. "It sounds like you've been carrying this hurt for a long time," she said. "How does it feel to be seen as less than your brother?" Her question hit hard, and I felt tears prick my eyes. It was the first time someone had named the pain so clearly. We talked for over an hour, unpacking how Mom and Dad's favoritism shaped me. I shared how I'd tried to confront them only to be brushed off as too sensitive. I admitted how their recent tactics, prying into my life, spreading rumors, made me feel trapped, even from miles away in Tulsa. Dr. Hayes leaned forward, her voice firm but kind. "You're not wrong to feel this way," she said. "Their behavior isn't about you. It's about their need to maintain control. You deserve to set boundaries that protect your peace." Her words felt like a lifeline, validating the anger and grief I'd buried for years. She asked what I wanted moving forward. I hesitated, then mentioned the Reddit post I'd been drafting away to lay bare my family's actions. I expected her to caution me, but instead she nodded thoughtfully. "Sharing your truth can be freeing," she said, "as long as it's for you, not just to hurt them. Focus on what makes you feel whole, what reminds you of your worth." She suggested practical steps, writing down my feelings to clarify them, setting firm limits with anyone who pushed my family's agenda, and prioritizing my own goals over their drama. "You're not defined by their choices," she said. "You get to choose who you are." That session shifted something in me. Dr. Hayes' advice wasn't just about coping, it was about reclaiming my voice. I went home and opened my laptop, pulling up the Reddit draft I'd been tweaking for months. I poured in everything: how Cody got every advantage, money, jobs, praise, while I was left to fend for myself. How my parents dismissed my pain. How their manipulation escalated when I pulled away. Dr. Hayes's words echoed in my mind as I typed, making the post sharper, more honest. It wasn't about revenge. It was about telling my story unfiltered for the first time. In our next session, I shared the draft with Dr. Hayes. She read it quietly, then looked up. "This is powerful," she said. "It's your truth, and it's yours to share when you're ready." She warned me about potential backlash but encouraged me to trust my instincts. "You've spent years being silenced," she said. "This could be your way to break free." I left her office feeling lighter, like I was finally stepping out of my family's shadow. The post wasn't live yet, but it was nearly complete, a testament to my strength, not their control. Dr. Hayes's guidance gave me clarity. I started journaling daily, listing things I was proud of: my career, my friendships, my independence. I stopped checking social media for my family's latest moves, focusing instead on my own life in Tulsa. Their attempts to pull me back no longer held the same power. I was done being the overlooked daughter, and with Dr. Hayes's help, I was ready to take the next step, whatever it brought. I'd spent months refining my Reddit post, pouring every ounce of my truth into it. One evening in Tulsa, I hit submit. The post detailed years of my family's favoritism, how my parents showered Cody with cars, college funds, and praise while I got scraps. How they ignored my milestones but celebrated his every step. How their manipulation escalated when I cut them off. I didn't hold back, laying out the Tesla gift, the cruel Instagram tag, and their attempts to paint me as unstable. Within hours, the post exploded, racking up thousands of views. Comments flooded in, strangers sharing their own stories of family unfairness, calling my strength inspiring. It felt like the world was finally hearing me. I wanted my family to see it, to face the reality of their actions. I reached out to my cousin Darlene, one of the few relatives who'd stayed neutral. I sent her the link, asking her to share it with Mom, Dad, and Cody. "They need to read this," I texted her. Darlene hesitated but agreed, forwarding the post to them. She called me later, her voice tense. "They're freaking out," she said. "Your mom's saying it's unfair that you're airing private matters. Your dad's furious about the business." I thanked her but stayed calm. Their reaction didn't surprise me. It was exactly why I'd written the post. The backlash hit them hard. The Reddit thread spread to other platforms, with users digging into Cody's social media, calling out his smug posts and the Tesla he flaunted. People criticized Mom and Dad for enabling him, questioning how they could neglect one child so blatantly. Dad's grocery chain and Mom's event planning business took a hit. Online reviews mentioned the post, accusing them of unfairness, not just in family, but in their dealings. Local customers in Dayton started asking questions, and a few vendors pulled back, wary of the negative attention. Cody especially became a target, with commenters labeling him entitled and selfish. I didn't expect the story to spread so far, but I wasn't sorry. They'd built their image on lies, and now it was crumbling. Darlene became their messenger, relaying their attempts to reach me. Mom sent a long email through her, pleading for a call, claiming they didn't mean to hurt me. Dad left a voicemail on Darlene's phone, insisting the post was exaggerated and that I owed them a chance to explain. Cody texted her, demanding I take the post down, saying it was ruining his life. Each message felt like a grasp for control, not remorse. I told Darlene to stop forwarding their pleas. "I'm done," I said. "They don't get to rewrite this." She understood, promising to keep my boundary intact. The public's response was overwhelming but empowering. Strangers messaged me, offering support and sharing how my story resonated. Some suggested I write more, turn my experience into a platform to help others. I read every comment, feeling a weight lift with each one. For years, I'd been silenced, made to feel like my pain didn't matter. Now thousands of people validated it, their words drowning out my family's excuses. I didn't respond to the noise online. I didn't need to. The post spoke for itself, and I stood by every word. My family's attempts to pull me back didn't shake me. I'd spent too long hoping for their approval, only to be dismissed. The Reddit post wasn't just a takedown, it was my declaration of freedom. I wasn't their afterthought anymore. I was Whitney, living my life in Tulsa, building my career and surrounding myself with people who saw my worth. Their panic, their anger, their crumbling reputation, it was theirs to carry, not mine. I'd taken back my story, and no amount of pleading would change that. A year later, my life in Tulsa became my own, a world away from the shadows of my family's expectations. I woke up each day feeling lighter, grounded in a sense of self-worth I'd fought hard to claim. My career as a senior analyst flourished, my friendships deepened, and I found joy in small things. Coffee shop mornings, weekend hikes with Monica, quiet evenings planning my future. The Reddit post had set me free, not just from my family's grip, but from the years of doubt they'd planted in me. I was no longer the overlooked daughter. I was Whitney, whole and unapologetic. The fallout for my family was stark. Darlene kept me updated, though I'd asked her to keep it brief. Cody lost his job at Dad's company after the public backlash grew too loud. Clients and colleagues questioned his character, pointing to the Reddit post and his flashy social media as evidence of entitlement. Darlene said he'd spiraled into depression, withdrawing from family gatherings and posting less online. I didn't feel triumph, but I didn't feel guilt either. His choices, backed by Mom and Dad, had led him there. Mom's event planning business took a hit too, with clients in Dayton canceling contracts, wary of her tarnished reputation. Dad's grocery chain faced financial strain, vendors backed out, and sales dipped as locals whispered about the family drama. Their empire, built on appearances, was cracking under the weight of their own actions. I didn't revel in their struggles, but I didn't soften either. Their attempts to reach me had stopped after the Reddit post, replaced by silence or weak apologies through Darlene. None of them addressed the core issue: the years of favoring Cody while dismissing me. I'd given them chances to see me, to value me, and they'd chosen otherwise. Now they were living with the consequences, just as I was living with the freedom of my truth. This journey taught me lessons I'll carry forever. Self-worth comes first, no matter who tries to diminish it. I spent years chasing my family's approval, only to realize it was never theirs to give. My value isn't tied to their validation, it's mine to define. Favoritism, I learned, can tear families apart, leaving scars that linger long after the apologies fade. Parents, siblings, anyone close. Everyone deserves to be seen and valued equally. Ignoring one person's worth for another's glory creates a fracture that's hard to mend. If there's one thing I'd tell anyone listening, it's to cherish every family member, not just the ones who shine brightest in your eyes. To everyone who's followed this story, thank you. Your comments, your messages, your own stories, they've meant the world to me. Reading about others who've faced similar struggles reminded me I'm not alone, and I hope my story does the same for you. If you've been through something like this, or if this resonates in any way, please share your thoughts below. Your voice matters, and together we can shine a light on truths too often buried. This story isn't just mine, it's a call to recognize your own worth and demand the respect you deserve. Thank you for listening, for caring, and for being part of this journey.